And thank you, Zoom. You could have found like a better voice to announce it. So we are live on Facebook. We are live in the Unstoppables in the LinkedIn group. And we're here with Brandon. Brandon, welcome, brother.
Thank you for having me, Carlos. Good to see you again, man.
It's always a pleasure, man. Hey, I was announcing in the group one of the biggest problems that coaches have when scaling. And apart from all the problems that they have, and I know it because I had the problem and I tried to find the solution. And that is when I met Brandon. And basically, you know, we all start the coaching business organic way. You do everything. You are the coach, you are the marketer, you are the one that, you know, that warms up the leads. You are the one that, like everyone, you wearing all the hats. And that's fine when you start a business. Because it's less risky, right? You don't need to spend money on paying to other people or paying for ads or stuff. But at some point, what happens is that, or you find someone to outsource some of the stuff, or you kill yourself working and you don't have time to do everything. And the number one problem that I found, and I told a lot of specialists they have the same problem, is when you're ready to outsource stuff, what is the first thing that you take off your shoulder? And what we found is, like, when you are in the creative mode, which is like marketing stuff, you are in a very different mode than when you are in the coaching mode or when you are in the sales mode. So to me, and not surprisingly for too many, the first thing that we're going to get out of our process is sales and sometimes marketing as well. But first thing is sales. Because how good it would be that you can just keep adding value, keep changing life, keep coaching people, keep supporting your clients, and then you get like an inbound flow of clients that never stops. So I was searching for that for a long time, and one of the names that was coming to me all the time from multiple directions actually was Brandon Garret. And I'm like, okay, let's talk to Brandon. And here we are today. Like, we've been talking for a long time. And look, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here, Carlos. It's great to see everyone here live. I don't have my Facebook pulled up to see the live feed, but hopefully everyone's enjoying hopped on so far, and we'll answer questions and stuff as we go. But so I am privileged enough to lead a company by the name of Closers Club. Now, what we do, we're a sales as a service agency. So we provide a done for you type service to build out your sales team and manage the sales processes and all of that for you, because we've really found, like Carlos was talking about, that within the coaching industry and the online industry, you know, specifically, but even some offline businesses, like as you start growing and scaling, that sales starts to become the bottleneck, because as you mentioned, like, you're in charge of fulfillment, you're in charge of the marketing. Like, sometimes the fulfillment and the marketing is all that you really have time for, and you experience those fluctuations in your lead pipeline because you're turning the ads on and off constantly. And that's just not a good position to be in. So what we do is we step in and we fill that gap for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what I liked about when there's two things that I really liked when I was talking to you. And one of the things is, like, at some point in your business, you need to start thinking, like, because I'm very sensitive about this topic, because I see, like, every time there's more coaches helping coaches and organic things and $10,000 months and 6 figures, and it's completely fine. This is how I started. This is part of what I do. But they don't tell you the whole picture. Like, the whole picture is, yeah, you can start and build to a certain point, but you need to have in mind that when you grow this business, you'll need someone who makes your life easier. Someone who comes and says, don't worry, we'll find people for you to close, we'll train them, we'll replace them if they're not good, and you don't need to worry about anything. And that was one of the things that I liked about when you and I talked, because you were kind of like, okay, so this is going to be, I don't need to worry about that anymore, and you guys are going to take care of this department. And it actually makes a big difference, because you're not worried about, you know, if you're going to close the next sale or if you're not going to close the next sale. If it's closable, if it's an ideal fit, it's going to be closed. So that's how you work, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and you touched on a very key point there, that it's not that information is not omitted with any malice, right? It's just, hey, we're trying to get, we want to help each other out as entrepreneurs. So we help people get started. But once you reach a certain revenue point, it may be 10, maybe 20, 30, $40,000, depending on what your price point is of your offer on monthly revenue. Like, starts to become a serious issue in your business, because you are the bottleneck, and it's, to go beyond that requires you to start building a business. And with what happened last year with the pandemic, right? There's a huge surge in the coaching industry during the middle of the year. Last year, the industry in that 5-month time span actually grew as much as it did in the 5 years prior combined. So what happens is we've got a lot of these coaches and consultants out in the online space that have good knowledge, that want to help impact more people, but they just don't have the business acumen and the knowledge to grow past that $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month and really start seeing those $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 a month and beyond. And that's where, like you said, we step in, we build out that entire process for you as it relates to sales, so that you can get your time back. Because at the end of the day, as the business owner, that's the number one resource that you have, is your time. You need to spend that working on your business and not working in your business.
Yeah. Like I've seen, like, sometimes what happens, we get away from the from the 9 to 5, right? Because we don't want to be part of the 9 to 5, and then you end up finding that you are in a 24/7 that goes on like 365 days a year, and then all of a sudden you don't have a life anymore. It's your business, and you cannot do anything, because if you put your attention away from your business, sales are not happening, leads are not coming in, clients are not, getting results. So yeah, you definitely need people who can take this weight out of your shoulder. And another thing that you mentioned as well, and you insisted a lot in our calls, it was like, what is the impact that you want to do in the world? What charities? How are you going to change the world? And I've got this question. I've been asked this question multiple times in all these sales calls, because you can see that they want to build in the emotional component to close the sale. But in your case, I could see that was genuine. And you asked me a few times, and you really wanted to know what it was, my mission, what I wanted to do, how I was going to make the world better. And I was like, kind of shocked, like, wow, this guy really cares about this stuff. It's not like another sales technique that people use to bring emotion. So,
right. Yeah.
So, man, tell me more about that.
Yeah. So, you're right. There's a lot of new flavor tactics out there, and building urgency and scarcity on the emotional side of the sale is one, but that's what makes us different. And at least personally, my selling style and how we work within Closers Club as a company too. When we start looking at people, we will look for that alignment of service to others, because as an organization, that's what we truly believe in when it comes to sales. And that's kind of the core mission that we feel is missing from sales, is that spirituality and that focus of truly wanting to help and serve others first, and then money is a byproduct of that. We believe in that so deeply that all of our closers in our company, even our support staff, they volunteer monthly in what we call our local shelter initiative. And through that, in our charitable organization, Life Guided by Light, where we feed the hungry. In the UK, we're building a school in Uganda and a micro hospital with land and stuff that we bought. Like, we fully fund that with all of our excess profits from Closers Club, except what little bit we keep back, for hard cost and growing. But we really believe that creating that impact and change and delivering that value for value's sake is what allows you as an individual to grow, but also be successful. And that's really, really missing in the sales industry as a whole. And unfortunately, sometimes even in the online business space, it's relatively easy, at least it's marketed easy with the Lambos and the watches and the planes and stuff, that it's easy to make money online, and people get taken advantage of all the time, unfortunately. But we want to have that place of service, especially in an industry like coaching, where it's so transformational based. Yeah,
you're right. It's like what I'm finding, and maybe because, the more populated is the industry, the more people are trying to make a living out of it, the more good stuff you'll find, but also the more not as good stuff you'll find as well. And what I see is a lot of people that they know very well how to sell. When they sell you into something that you buy, and then when you jump in and you get to see the whole picture, it's like, whoa, where was the thing that you sold me into? This is not what you mentioned, right? And I've been talking, unfortunately, to people that, I mean, I was this girl, I was trying to help her for free. Like I say, hey, jump in for, I'll work with you for free. She didn't want to. She didn't trust me. She had spent $70,000 in coaching, got zero ROI. And in every time she was told that, yeah, you'll get the result, you'll build this business, we'll help you out. And then she's like, nobody helped me. This guru who was meant to be supporting me, I never saw him. And all this money was spent made anything. And then you try to genuinely help them, and it's so hard because they have all this distrust. So that's why I'll keep talking about ethical sales and ethical coaching business, because as you say, you want to make a service to the community or to people, and the money is going to be a byproduct. So the more results your clients get, the more money will come to you because you're making a service. So good on you, man. And I've tested like a lot of sales agencies and sales people, and honestly, there's not many that I can talk as highly as I talk about you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it. And you're right. It's unfortunate that happens, right? But again, it goes back to having to come from that, always coming from that place of service and offering value, because at the end of the day, especially as coaches, as consultants, whatever niche that you might be in, the client has to do the work. So yeah. we as salespeople really aren't any different. Like we have to provide the right environment and the appropriate information to get the prospect. No different than when a coach is really working with someone one-on-one and doing some real deep work. Like get them to understand and own the problem that they feel like that they have, and start charting a path forward that a solution that we may be on the phone to talk about might possibly fit, because they may be able to only get to this point and then they've got this gap. That's where it's the sales professional's job or the coach's job to provide those poignant questions that provide moments of clarity for the prospect to go, or the mentee to go, oh, I do need to do this. What do I need? Like, how do I get started? What's the next step? Right. Yeah. And that genuine type of an aha moment only comes when the coach, the consultant, the sales professional is coming from a place of service and genuinely wanting to help them, not caring what happens at the end of the call. The outcome of the call is meant to be, you leave that person better than you found them.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally, man. Totally. Yeah, like that's how it should be all the time. That's how it should be. Look, I just reminded a case of a client. Client is just signed up. I haven't even onboarded him, but we jump on this call. I'm not a closer. I just try to understand what's going on when I talk to someone and try to see what I can do to help them. And I was talking to him, and I was just listening to him, trying to understand him and giving some value, right? And then he's like, wow, it is the first time that I jump off a sales call and I don't feel discouraged. Like, these people told me that I'm going to be like miserable for the rest of my life if I don't do something today. And I felt like shit. I'm like, wow, well, I don't know who you've been talking to, but that's not definitely how you do things. And he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He had a lot of financial problems. That was like 2 months ago. And he reached out yesterday, said, hey, Carlos, I'm ready. I want to do this. And because, we have this misconception that sales or a call needs to be closed immediately and, immediate rewards. And we forget about the relationship building part of things.
Right. And you bring up the relationship part, which is so very important. Because in our everyday going-ons, our day-to-day life with our spouse, our children, our friends, boss, coworkers, we don't react to a no the same way we do in sales. A no from the wife about, hey, do we want to get pizza or steak tonight? No, I don't want either. Right. Well, that's not a no forever. there's just a no right now. So you're right. Like we've got to focus on that relationship building piece and understand that if they genuinely have a problem that they want to fix, and that I know that the service that I'm selling as a sales professional, or if I'm doing the selling as a coach, can help them, I've got a moral and ethical obligation to sell them. That doesn't mean I enroll them in my program right now, but it means I sell them on themselves, on the action plan that they need, so they can get the result that they want. Because then, as Carlos just talked about, like 6 months later, a year later, they'll be like, hey, I'm ready, let's go.
Yeah.
Added that value because you genuinely built that trust, which is so very important in a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But look, I remember when I started, and that's what I was being told, right? You need to jump on these calls, and it's going to be a yes or no, but it's going to be one sale close. So I would get so my emotions would get so on the way when they would give me an objection. These people would jump off the call. They would block me on Facebook. They wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. And I wasn't doing it from in a mean way, but just I didn't know any better because I was taught like that. And then I understood that, that it's not like that. It's the relationship and the sales process, or the sales call or discovery call. It's just another piece of the puzzle to build this relationship. So
yes, absolutely.
You grow your life.
And it's a very interesting process that we all go through as coaches, as sales professionals, that the sale itself, the act of the sale itself, is 100% about the prospect and where they're at and what their needs are. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with us, but how the call itself goes, the environment that is created, and the journey that the prospect goes on is 100% about us. Because as you just pointed out, like, if I come into the call with these negative beliefs, these negative associations, or this tense energy, it's going to come across to that prospect on the call. Well, we've all had that experience, I'm sure, where we're walking in the mall, right? And the little lady at the perfume or the lotion kiosk wants to like chase you down and put lotion on your hands, right? Or you step onto the car lot and you can smell the salesman, as he's walking across the parking lot as you're looking at the new truck, right? Like, all felt that. That vibe is a real energetic communication that's going on, that we have to be mindful that we are there to provide clarity. And the only way we can provide that clarity is to be in a state of neutrality on that call and be open to where the prospect's at and work with them from there. Because otherwise you're going to bring your own money beliefs into the conversation. You're going to bring, any of that. It's going to come across in your tonality. That's what people forget. That's why good speakers aren't necessarily great speakers, because the content of their speech is so good. They're able to emotionally connect to the audience through their tonality and the stories that they tell, because sound is energy, and that has an impact when we interact with each other. And if I'm clinging, oh my God, I got to make the sale, like, the prospects are going to feel that, and they're not going to buy, or they're going to block you on Facebook, right?
Oh man, I resonate with that so much. Like, honestly, yeah. It's some sort of woo stuff. Like, when you don't really understand what's going on, you get into the call with the judgment, a belief about this person, about the sale, about the money, about your needs, and the whole thing changes. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, and your business can thrive or dive depending on where your mindset stands on. Man, that conversation's amazing. I think we should do another one on the mindset. Yeah. So hey, look, it's almost 30 minutes. Well, you're part of the group, so if anyone wants to reach out to you and needs help with you, this is gonna go into YouTube as well. So I'm gonna make sure that I drop the links underneath the video, and I'll tag you in the group as well. Yeah, and absolutely. If anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way?
Yeah, just, I mean, you can DM me directly on, on Facebook. It may take me 24 hours or so to get back to you, but you definitely welcome to reach out to me on there, on LinkedIn as well. If you, like Carlos said, like if you feel like you're kind of at that point in your business, you're at the $25,000-$50,000 mark and you're not sure where to go next, be more than happy to take an application, get on the phone with you and give you, an audit of what's going on in your business, because growing a business as a coach, as a consultant, is a challenge. And we've seen this, over and over. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out well for coaches because they have this perceived notion of what the sales process looks like. And when you start having other people do your sales, that level of psychology, that positioning that you have as a coach doesn't translate so well to a salesperson. So we can at least outline some of those strategies, or if you are going to bring a closer in, let you know, hey, these are the types of things that you need to look for. We can give you a free checklist, things like that. Be happy to chat with anybody that needs some help.
Beautiful. All right. Let me stop this thing, and thank you for your time, man. Really appreciate it. I appreciate you, brother. And
absolutely, my pleasure.
Let's plan another one for mindset.
Sure, we can do that.
All right.